recording button. Now I do.
There we are.
Happy
Friday.
Happy Friday.
January 17th, 2020. Small Business Accounting Advisors. I'll get that out, right?
Happy Friday.
So how is everyone doing in 1099 season?
Ooh.
I'll let you know when I start.
We've spent the first 2 weeks of the month knocking out our regular work, year ends, getting our act together, testing, and then we tend to do that like till the 15th, 17th, and like Monday, we're going to hit the ground running, and we just put our W-2 1099 hats on and just go to town on quarterlies and stuff. So we tend to do that instead of going client by client and doing everything and finish. So that seems, all of us have naturally done that for some reason. But so next week's going to be we've been working the last couple of days on one of my largest clients that has, let's see, I downloaded 300 W-9s. That equated to 106. This one's less than last year. We're under 200 1099s. And then this is a QuickBooks Desktop client. So we actually read the W-9s to make sure none are invalid. Then we compare the W-9s to the vendor file to make sure that they're going to print right. And we'll find little things, silly mistakes like partnerships with no check mark, corporations with a check mark, that kind of stuff, or a missing zip code, or
right.
QuickBooks Desktop has a fluke in that if there's a first, middle, last populated, it thinks it's a sole proprietorship. So if the company name is a partnership, the 1099 will not print properly. So all partnerships cannot have a name, and all individuals have to have a name. So
that's a little confusing.
And clients tried their hardest to do them right, but some people just print 1099s or get their information from the client. They just print 1099s. Our policy is we verify first. And that's the first thing we do is verify W-9s and the setup. And then I'll do hunting for any vendors that should be eligible that received a check during the year, and then the mapping, make sure that any new general ledger accounts got mapped, so, but, in the end, I think it's a better product. But,
so do you have a hard time getting the information, the W-9s from your clients?
Like with this client, she's really good at getting W-9s, but you can't read the handwriting. Or the biggest problem is LLCs. And I swear, even if you're using Track 1099 or another W-9 gathering type program or getting them manually, the owners of LLCs, they don't understand that an LLC can be anything. And sure enough, a huge majority of them will say individual, and they put the LLC and they don't give us the taxpayer name. So they're invalid. I'm training my clients to spot these. Don't just take W-9s and run with them, but read them and try to police this during the year so we're not in hell this time of year. And I've had my clients long enough now where I've got them pretty much trained. But like I have a new client and they've been using Track 1099, and the problem is when you get an invalid W-9, you have the burden of going back to your vendor saying, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but the W-9 is not correct. Then they get upset. You're upset. Well, what's wrong with it? And it's just a chore that my clients don't want to do. Even if I put that responsibility on them, they're miserable.
They don't understand why it's important. Is what the problem is.
They may, but the frustration is the person filling out the W-9 doesn't know how to fill out a W-9.
I have walked so many people.
The form itself doesn't lend to being filled out properly.
And I've tried walking so many people through the process. And I had one person that they had two different companies, and they would put one company on line 1 and another company on line 2. And then when I'd be like, oh no, I need it this way, they're like, well, that's and then they would just keep flip-flopping them. I'm like, you know what? Forget it.
Most states,
My client quit using them because that was how they did all their jobs.
well, you know what? Have you ever gotten a W-9 that's like, somebody filled it out years ago. It's like, I've had them. I can't tell you how old these forms are. And the only thing that's blank is the date. And they've been reusing and Xeroxing them for 100 years.
Yes.
And so you get one of those and you go back to the vendor and you say, this is incorrect. And they go, well, I've been using this for years and nobody's ever complained. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
But it's still incorrect.
But I'm going to do it right. And usually when you explain it to them, they go, oh, well, that makes sense. You know, I mean, if you're filing a 1040, you are the taxpayer. Period. You know? I don't know.
So you created your own program to track 1099s.
Out of frustration, I came up with a question type format for a W-9 where it leads you through, as you answer questions, first it explains why we're asking for the W-9, and then who's demoing here? Shannon?
I am.
So, all right. So who's the contact name on the form? I threw that in there because I'm like, that should be my vendor name. Like, who are you? What's on your invoice? And I'm curious to see how that relates to what they fill out later. All right. And then, all right. So who's the contact? But this is the field where I'm like, I want to see who they think, who we're doing business with. All right. And then, so it's who are we making the payments out to? And it should be the name that matches the invoices and the receipts, right? And your address. Oh gosh, see, you did your LLC. Half of them leave that off.
See, I almost left it off. I had to go back to
I know, see? So that field right there is sort of an extra field. The rest of it, okay. So then I ask if it's for services, materials, or products, or both. And then this next area says this information represents the payee's IRS tax form.
And you
That's
made
the
it
most
that
important
they had to
question.
fill it out.
That's box 3. Based on what they pick, will determine the rest of the questions. So if you've said 1040, it's saying, what is the owner's name as spelled on their social security card? Now switch it to an 1120. Well, wait a minute.
Hold on. Let me go back and
there you go. Yeah, it didn't refresh. Okay.
And you have it in red.
Oh, that's not right. Oh my gosh, a bug.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So the partnership. Okay, the 10. That's supposed to be the EIN. That's supposed to be the EIN field. Oh gosh, thank you guys. All right. So if you do the 1120, if it's a C corp, S corp, PC, or Inc., it's going to ask for the EIN. Go back to the 1040. Watch this. 1040. What's the taxpayer's name? So put your name.
Wow, I can't spell it. There we go.
Then if there's if this taxpayer's payment payee is a business name, enter it here. And then I ask them to, if you're an LLC, don't forget your LLC. Okay. Then I say, does the owner want to use their social or EIN? And it switches.
See, look at that. That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
This is required.
Okay. And the last one, most people are non-exempt, but like number 1 would be a nonprofit. What's the other one? 5 would be a corporation. Most people don't fill those out for some reason, but and then you sign it. So I have to fix the 1120 so it does an EIN, and it should act the same for a nonprofit. Yeah, you can sign it with your mouse. You can sign it with your finger, or if you're on your phone. All right, so then save. And it's going to pop up. It's going to pop up with the PDF. It should. Hold on.
Well, yes. It's saying that it's saved.
Oh, yeah, you have to submit
here.
You have to submit it.
So we'll hit send.
And then, hold on a minute. I think
I
it popped up.
copied the
I think
link.
it
I
popped
don't
up in
know.
PDF. Go back to the,
Oh,
yeah. Once you send it, where did it
it did
go?
not. Okay, I got the email. I'm going to
Oh,
start the
that's
share.
saved.
Well,
Where's the submit button? See, it looks different on your desktop than it does on my phone. I wonder if that's different. Because on the phone, it says thank you, and it has the PDF attached.
okay,
And
so
then I
here,
changed some settings, so. Because then I want to show you what I did. So then I took a Word document with like a mail merge. Let's see,
it
it's
just
not
says
finished.
saved.
It didn't
Resume now.
finish. It's just saved. It didn't finish it. That's interesting. Yeah, go back down.
Hold on. I have this thing where it converts all of my email links from
Yeah.
HTML to MHTML, and then they have to open in Edge.
Huh. See, at the bottom, there's no submit. There's only a save.
Let's see what it looks like in Chrome.
I've been using this like crazy.
Click the button that's got.
So what was that?
Sarah.
Firefox acting like that?
Yeah, or should I just click that? That just rewound me to the top.
No, it's not submitted yet.
Oh,
there
here.
it is. There it is. Okay. So what I did was I made a Word document. And so I'll put the client's logo and then all the answers to the questions. And at the very bottom will be their signature. And now my last chore is, and that'll get sent. The client can, you know, look at their database of W-9s, but I want to be able to trigger that PDF to go to like share file or automatically file for them. So I want to figure that out. But so that is a substitute W-9.
Nice.
It's right, except for my 1120 I have to fix. How come everybody testing this all week? Nobody mentioned it.
That's pretty cool, Sarah.
I'll be darned. What is the social security number? I'll have to fix it. But anyway, I've been wanting to do this for a million years because these W-9s make me crazy.
And you've done this with Microsoft and not Google.
Well, let's back up. My first test at this was using Microsoft Forms. And Microsoft Forms was pretty. And it did everything that I wanted it to do, except that it didn't have a signature program with it. I'd have to pay per signature and link it and all this. So then I found this system, and it comes with the signature.
Okay.
So, yeah, but it also links with SharePoint. So I can have everything going right up to SharePoint. So I'll design one form and URL and one login for every client is the plan.
Nice. Nice.
And it's really simple. I think most people should be able to answer the simple questions of
If they don't know what kind of tax return they filed, it stops them right there. Because they don't know how to answer the first question, you know, about the first question.
Right.
I mean, how many bookkeepers or you know, office personnel fill these out for their bosses? They don't know what kind of tax return the boss has.
They're
Are you
guessing.
going to show other code advisors how to do this, Sarah, or what?
I don't know. It took me a long time to figure this out. I don't know. That's something I'd like to toss around. How do you think I would, you know?
form, like, yeah, like Linda said.
So I could say, well, here's exactly how to do it for your company, step by step with videos. I mean, maybe sell the package of how to build it for your own accounting firm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that though. I would want the form already done and just take your branding off of it.
Well, yeah. See, I could do a template. I would say
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of my package would be the template. And even part of the package is I'll add your logo and I'll do all that and I will build your URL and everything. So I was thinking about doing that. The other is if you just have one little company and that's all you want, then I could add them to my program because I pay per user, like a client. They'd have to almost be liability wise. I'm worried about the confidentiality
Yeah.
of the security number and EIN. If they're already a client of mine, I already have
Yeah.
a confidentiality agreement and all that. So if I add somebody to my client base because they just want to pay for their one,
Right.
they would have to become a client for that purpose, I guess.
There you go.
Anyway, so that was the two ways I was thinking about doing it. It's either make a form on my program or show them how to get their own program and I'll design it for you.
Right. Right.
Well, with Cognito Forms, can you create the template and sell it and move it to somebody else's account?
Yeah, but it's a
He's
lot
shaking
more.
his head, yes.
Yes, I can make a template and transfer it. Yeah. So
And
that's what I would do. I would say, buy your own Cognito account.
Yep.
And then I will do the templates and the process and all that. And I'll show you how to maintain it. You know.
Yeah,
Or,
that would
and
be,
then I can probably get consulting for just maintaining it, you know, so they need something.
Right. Right. Nice.
Anyway.
Other 1099 problems are with QBO. Lots of people saying that they're having a hard time with QBO and getting the proper 1099 reports. Well, one of the issues with QBO is it's been so funky lately, and not just 1099 reports, but all reports. It seems like it's not refreshing properly, or you know, like almost like you lose connection with the internet for a couple minutes. Just wait a couple minutes, and it will come correctly. But I've had that happen with several different reports this past couple weeks. So it's not just 1099s. Plus, people are also trying to run a 1099 report for vendors when they're entering things not only by checks, but by journal entry. Of course, any journal entry that you put in is not going to be included on that 1099 sheet.
And don't forget, if you pay the people by a credit card, you don't need to actually include those values either. So you have to actually take your vendor, reduce any of the credit cards, and still see if they are over the threshold at that point, right?
and debit cards.
Yeah.
And debit cards.
Anything through merchant
Yeah.
processing, basically.
Yep.
That means your checkbook has to be, those types of transactions have to say credit card or debit card or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise the system doesn't know how to exclude them.
Well, right, and you have to
Right.
use it in a letter combination that the system recognizes to exclude.
Right. Well, one of the things that I do with my clients, and I don't know that this is even legal, but if we pay them by PayPal, I put them on the other name list and then I put in parentheses after their name, PayPal. So that the person who knows, and then if we ever pay them with a check, then we have to have their name over on the vendor list that they're paid with a check, and I usually put 1099 after it then.
Mm-hmm.
So I control it with where I have their name. So
Fixed my form. I have a question. I don't do 1099s with QBO, but do you have the same problem that I have in desktop in that if you have multiple lines of addresses for a vendor, the 1099 will not print properly. It'll jam it all on one row and chop off half of the address.
I can't answer that. I don't actually.
So
print
I've
1099.
never been able to use the 1099 program in desktop because of that kind of foolishness. Or maybe you have a really long attorney name or some craziness or whatever. So I export into Magfiler, which gives me another opportunity and then I print them I either print them to the screen and scroll down and see if they're okay. And then over in Magfiler, I'll just tweak the address a little bit or tweak their name a little bit because there's an extra field in that program that desktop doesn't have. So I was curious if QBO had that same problem where They don't print right. You can't even mail them. And you
No.
can't, it's not like you can pull up the 1099 and then tweak it. So I don't know.
Mary has
Mary's
lost her
just
head.
disappeared. Oh, that was crazy. Mary, when you turned around your head, you look like the headless horseman.
What happened? Oh, when I turned around, really?
Yeah, now lean. Now, not when you turn around. It must be when you lean further away
I
from the
was
computer,
leaning.
maybe.
Yeah, the dog was here again.
Sorry.
I don't know. He keeps coming to see what I'm doing. He wants me to be out there.
He wants to be on the show too.
It was all of a sudden your head was.
See, when I started using QBO, I have never been able to get the 1099 section in there to work properly. So I just export everything into Track 1099 and
Then you
process
can
from
tweak
there.
them there. You can tweak them once they get there.
Most professionals, I believe, do that. It's the people that are doing them themselves,
Yeah.
trying to do it in-house, right, that are having the
Yeah.
problems.
How about the one somebody said that if you put in the bill dated January, but you paid it early and the check is dated in December, that it looks at the bill and excludes it when you go, because for like cash basis reports are all, but 1099s are cash basis, period.
Right.
And the cash basis reports weren't pulling them up. I'm like, well, that's just wrong. I forget who was having trouble with that. But he was frustrated because his test reports, weren't matching the export, the printout. So, and that was one of them.
Wow. So you do really have to look over what the information that you're getting out of QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online.
Right.
There could be other reasons that information is not coming out correctly. If they're not set up exactly right, if you're not
on the setup.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't set it up right if you don't know how to read a W-9.
That's true too.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too.
Well, I fixed my little 1120 boo-boo. You know what happened is my original form, I said 1020 instead of 1120. And somebody caught my typo. But when I fixed my typo, it broke the.
Oh, got it.
Because I say if the pay name, what kind of tax return is not a 1120.
Oh, God.
Or is it 1120? Then do this. So it's one of those if thans. So I fixed it.
Got it. The other thing that happened this week, switching gears a little bit, Intuit announced Chronobooks is now only going to be available to the advanced QBO. Everyone else, too bad.
Too bad.
So sad.
Mary, you?
Well, they went on this promotion. I guess I signed up for it a couple, maybe 2 months ago. I don't know, whatever. There was a webinar. I forget who did it. And they had Chronobooks on, and this was great, and blah blah blah. So and then I actually was starting to do proposals for my clients, my long-term people, because I really never did. We kind of just started working together. So I said, well, let me do proposals now. Let me make this official and tell them what they're paying for, what I'm doing for them, what I'm not doing. So I threw in there the QBO backup, and with Chronobooks, and now it's like, no, that's not going to happen anymore.
So now you have to go and redo all your proposals and take that off. And people that you said you were going to do that and already read those proposals.
How stupid. What are they thinking? Okay, Matt, I want to hear about Rewind.
Yeah, what's the option now? So maybe you could say you're backing up. You don't have to say what the program is.
But before, I just want to say too that it's not even okay. So there's an option, all right. But why would they do something like that? Intuit keeps doing things like that. It's like, are they not thinking?
Oh,
They want to push everybody to advance.
I know,
it's not even that they do it. I think, for me, what did they do in January?
Ernest, did we lose you? We must have.
Oh,
But it says,
Linda's
why do they do it in January?
No.
right. You'd have no chance to react in January.
Right, exactly.
That's why they do it. They don't want us calling in.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it stops people from calling in.
So Matthew, tell us about Rewind. The
Um,
alternative.
yeah, yesterday I reached out in the morning time. I just was like, you know what? Rewind's the obvious like alternative. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if these guys know about this or not. So I called them and asked them if they wanted to do a live stream, which we were able to get Mike on yesterday, and we went through the product. I think there are definitely there are things about each of the two programs that I really like, but there's one major thing we all have to really just start thinking of right away, which is Chronobooks is no longer an option. So a lot of people keep comparing Rewind and Chronobooks back and forth, and it's like that's not an option anymore. It's either if you go to advanced you can do it, but it's not an option.
Right.
I like with Rewind, I like that they offer the ability to remove transaction by, like, you can choose a certain type of transactions you want to remove for a given period of time, or you can do individual transactions. You could go backwards and remove, or you can go to like a mixture, like you can go back 1 month and only take all the checks out from that 1 month if you wanted, which is kind of neat. Their backup setup, I think that we need to make everybody needs to be very vocal about the fact that they liked having the ability to do a backup of a company file to like a Google Drive, and more importantly in like a CSV format, because they do have the ability to do a backup, but you have to actually request it, and it comes in a JSON format, which unless you're Ernest Cook, you don't really know what to do with that. It's going to be the difficulty. So, but I don't think that Ernest, you could probably talk better to this idea, but I don't think it'd be that difficult to translate that, for them to translate that over to CSV instead, right?
Yeah, what is the format they put it out? I didn't hear it.
JSON. It's in JSON.
Oh, yeah. That's about a 5-minute job.
Yeah, it's definitely not a world-shattering concept. But so I liked it. I liked the company. Everybody there has been really, really nice. The layout of it is very simple to understand. Pricing is it's basically $10 a company file. If you're an accountant and you're setting it up, it actually is $5 a company file, but you have to do a minimum of 2 company files. So that's how you get to the 5. So in comparison to like Chronobooks, your pricing is right at the same place. And the other neat thing about Rewind is they actually are doing more with e-commerce, and they're actively trying to find out from everybody what other programs they would be interested in them being able to back up as well, like MailChimp and BigCommerce and all these different things. So they've got a bigger trajectory planned out. So I put a link, I think, to the YouTube video, didn't I, Gina, in your group in Facebook?
Yes, you did. Yes,
Okay.
you did.
Okay.
So I think it's a cool opportunity. It's going to be something, it's going to be neat.
Good.
I am interested on the advanced side for Chronobooks. Like, I really hope that what ends up happening with that is they expand the accessibility to Chronobooks for what it can back up. If Chronobooks stays as it is in advanced, then I think this was a complete waste. But if they improve it and make it to where you can actually do more, you can back up more stuff, like your custom reporting and everything else, that would start to add extra value to advance, and that would be a positive. But it's a hard hill they're going to be climbing.
Well, and because I'm on vacation, the scenery behind me, I'm in a hotel room, I was able to transfer all of my clients from Chronobooks to Rewind today.
Oh, nice.
So, and I even got everything deleted and my Chronobooks account erased. I still have like the login, but otherwise it's a shell of a subscription. But yeah, I mean, the timing really sucked. Because if I hadn't already had this planned time off, I probably would have been scrambling to do it at the very last minute, which is February 25th is when it's no longer available.
So you do backups, or you were doing Chronobooks as extra value to what you add to your clients?
Yes. I have some clients that they go in their books and they just screw crap up. And with Chronobooks, at least I can go back to a day where things weren't messed up. And what I liked about the demo that was on Rewind is the ability to just undo certain transactions or a couple single transactions.
Got it. Nice.
Or if they delete things, I can restore it right from Rewind without having to go into QuickBooks and see what it was that was deleted and open it on another screen and then rekey it in.
So you're liking Rewind better?
I've been using it for 3 hours, but yes.
Good to know.
So one thing actually I would add also is because I did go and add a couple company files onto Rewind. I noticed that literally if you search through, because it does transaction by transaction, it literally almost immediately pulls up like the whole, you almost call it an audit log since the beginning. So I saw transactions all the way back to 2014. So to me, that wasn't very helpful. I would like to see some better filtering on that side of it. I did like the fact that I mean, this is me totally being a nerd, but you can actually look at the source code of the difference of the transactions. Like it'll pop it up and you can see what was changed between the different revisions. So I think that's neat, but I don't need to go all the way back. And we also asked them if you could do it by person. I would love the ability, like you could do by a user, because usually you're gonna have one person who's offensive, right? And it's like, I just wanna undo everything they touched. At the moment they can't because of the limitations imposed by QuickBooks Online. You know, with the accountant, if you have anybody on your team only shows one name to like your clients, that's part of the problem there. But boy, that'd be great to do.
Right, absolutely.
Right, but if I had to lose one thing, I would prefer to keep my team members private from my clients. Even though they'll know who's working on the books, it just kind of clutters up if they ever pull their audit log. And, you know, sometimes I'll have people fill in last minute to, you know, work on a project. And I might not necessarily tell them every single person's name who's working in their file.
I've done that for a lot of people. So yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, so I would rather keep the limitation in Chronobooks, but then, you know, open everything back up on that end. But that would be ideal, is if, because we can still see who's doing everything. So if it's hooked up through our QBOA, I would imagine there would be some way that Chronobooks could see who was working on the file. But I'm not a developer and I have no idea how these things work. I just want them to work.
And you mean Rewind, right? We're talking about Rewind?
Wait, what did I say?
The alternative that no longer exists.
Oh, yeah, I'm not Rewind. I don't listen to me. I mix up my words all the time.
We should just rewind that part.
We should pretend like it never happened.
I'd like to recognize Matthew for his help on a project. Despite my totally misunderstanding what's going on, he's rescued me I don't know how many times this week. So thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Still got to finish the rescue. We're still paddling in, but I'm actually working on it as we speak. So
I believe it. I believe it. I got a text saying, I haven't heard from him today, so I think he's got everything he needs. So hopefully.
I can be pretty demanding.
No, it's just, well, it's hard for him to do work without data. Hello.
The bane of all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
All
Thank
righty,
you very
well,
much.
we're at the top of the hour again. So is there anything else anyone would like to speak about before we say goodbye for today? Yes, go ahead, Matthew.
Keep
I'd
cranking
like
out
to
that work.
like to say I hope you all have a wonderful couple weeks. I probably will not be in attendance for at least the next 2.
Wow.
And why not?
Because I'm leaving for India on Tuesday.
That's right.
So I'm leaving on a jet plane. No.
Maybe
I'm
when
going-
you're in Amsterdam, though, you can join us. Because then you
Yeah.
won't be on the other side of the globe.
because it's where I'm going and Ahmedabad is 12 and a half hours difference. So
Yeah.
that's the scariest part of this. It's complete inverse time-wise. So I'm going to apparently wake up on Tuesday and be like, I like to sleep during the day. Yay! But we shall see.
Got it.
But send us back some things while you're there. When
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
got some stuff planned. Keep an eye on my social media. There's going to be some fun stuff planned for the journey.
What are you
Do
doing
they-
in India?
I'm sorry?
What are you doing in India?
Going to analytics. So the analytics solutions, the people that help us on their back-end support, they have their annual meeting every year, and they've invited me out to speak at their annual conference. And at the same time, I'm going to have more of an opportunity to meet the rest of our team members who have not come out here for QuickBooks Connect before, and just kind of work on some of the processes that we're doing together to strengthen that. But I'm also planning, like a big part of what I'm trying to do is to really record and document what does it actually mean to work with an outsourcing company. So I want to actually like record. They're supposed to have a video crew for me when I'm there. What's the culture like? What's the work environment like? What's the training like? What's the security like? What is like that the overall picture? So when I come back, we can share that with everybody and have a true understanding of what that is all about.
That's fantastic because we it's like people who work from their home. We picture them in their underwear at a breakfast room table. When most of us have office, and so we have this image in our head of what outsourced workers do, and I'd love to see that.
And
I'm
you have a
looking forward to
crew.
it.
Yeah.
You have a crew waiting for you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moving up in the world.
We're gonna have fun.
And so the coolest part, Baravi has been just amazing in helping me plan this stuff out. There's individual members of the team. They've all got these little outings planned for me because I'll be there. I get there basically on the 23rd, and then I leave on the 31st to go to Amsterdam. But I'm going to go get to see the Taj Mahal. I'm going to go check out a whole bunch of like local stuff. It's going to be fun. And then Amsterdam, I'm leaving, like I said, 31st, and I'll be there through the 3rd. I'm most excited because of my colorblind glasses. I've always said when I was younger that if I had the glasses just for a day, I'd go to a Van Gogh exhibit and I'd go to botanical gardens. So I'm going to the Van Gogh Art Museum, taking my glasses to go fulfill that personal goal.
Right.
I'm also going to go check out probably the Anne Frank house. And then I love electronic music. So there's a whole weekend like electronic party going on. So I bought a ticket through the whole weekend so I can go whenever I want.
Perfect.
Go listen to some music in Amsterdam and find some other trouble to get into and then finally come home.
Nice.
Fun.
Sounds like a fun trip for you.
Thank you. I've never done anything like this before, and the second half will be alone. But you know what? This is a life experience, a life opportunity. And
Absolutely.
Take it.
thank you, analytics.
Yeah, that's great. We'll be slaving away doing our W-2s and 1099s.
I'll think
Thinking
about
you having fun with your
Yes.
crew.
So we want to live vicariously through you. So we'll follow your social media.
You know me. I'm real shy with video, so.
Oh, yeah. If we don't hear from you, we are worrying.
Exactly.
Leave your contact information with someone.
Yeah.
Where's Matthew?
Hopefully I'll make it back. I
Yeah,
should.
you will. Super.
All righty, everyone. Same time, same place.
Next week.
Next
All right.
week.
Bye.
Have a nice
Bye.
trip, Matt.